good job, Stinger, and today, judging by the wind patterns, I believe we will be going over how to make a beat for Big Juice the Sip himself, Shakewell, as well as Fat Nick. So without any further ado, let's just get right to it. Alright, so here is our beat, and the first sound that I used to create the melody is this ambient sound effect from Analog Labs. So most of the ambient sounds in Analog Lab aren't tuned to C, and I really didn't like how it sounded overlapping with each other, so I rendered it out into Edison, went to this little marker, and detected the pitch regions. That way I could find that it was in F sharp. And all I did after that was use this icon to drag it into my sound selector. So now that we have the sound isolated, I went into the tuner and right-clicked F sharp because the sound the note was playing was F sharp. So now it's tuned to C. After that, all I did was lay down this pretty basic pattern using tension notes, which are notes that are one note away from each other in the scale. So this is what that sounds like. For beats in this style, you really don't want to go with anything too melodic, especially if you're going for like the Little Mexico type of Shakewell beats. He often likes to use some kind of tonal effects or alarms or ambiances in order to create his melodies. So that's what I went for here. This melody is pretty basic, I really don't need to break it down, so let's just move into the next part. After I had that laid out, I pulled up the block jaw lead from Analog Labs, and this is the melody that it's playing. All I did to get this melody is I took the original melody that I had created before and pitched it up by 7 semitones. Pitching a root note up 7 semitones creates the 5th of the chord, and that's a great note to use for leads. And as you'll notice here with these two notes, one of them is off key and the other one really doesn't resonate well, so I just brought it down by 2 semitones so that it fits within that tension note region. And for the last component of the melody, I threw down the studio grand piano from Addictive Keys, and I just have it playing the first melody but layered within the octaves. So with all that together, this is what the first rendition of the melody sounds like. So as you can tell, that melody is pretty harsh and bland, and I wasn't really liking how that was sounding. So what I did is I routed all of my melodies into one mixer, went to gross beat, selected momentary from the presets, and went to half speed. After that, I took the time down to just about 80%, and I pitched my melody up by an octave by selecting them all, right-clicking them, and hitting transpose and hitting 12 semitones up. So this is what the melody sounds like now. So that melody sounds a whole lot more dark and ominous and kind of sits well in the back seat of the beat because I wanted the drums to be the main focal point of this beat. So now that we've got the melody out of the way, let's move into the drums. Alright, so the first thing I laid down, geez, I just spit everywhere. Alright, so the first thing I laid down was the 808s, and for a little bit of shameless advertising here, all the drum sounds in this beat can be found in my Hive Stash Kit, which you can get for free in the link in the description. So with that being said, this is what the 808 sounds like. As you can tell, the 808 is pretty distorted, and all I did to get that was 2 fast distortions, one on the A panel and one on the B panel, both with the mix down at 12%. After I had the 808 down, I threw down a kick to match. Pretty self-explanatory, nothing you need to go over there. Next, I threw down a clap, and what you may notice with most of the drum sounds in this beat is that most of them aren't at C5. They're pitched down a bit because in Shakewell and Fat Nick's beats, the drums are usually pretty low pitched to give that like dark, grimy sound. So that's what I did with most of these drums. So with that being said, this is what the clap sounds like. After that, I threw down a snare to layer with the clap, as well as add in some accent notes and a roll at the end. After I had those snares laid down, I threw down a hi-hat, just playing a basic 2-step pattern. For the effects on that, I have good old Deep Blue Glitch, which is basically just the free version of Effectrix, and it has a lot of sounds that Effectrix doesn't have that I actually prefer in this over Effectrix. So on that, I just have a couple instances of stretchers as well as a long reverse at the end. And then just to add in some more reverse notes, I threw in Effectrix. And the final component of the drums is this open hat hitting on the downbeat. I like to throw my open hats on the downbeat because I feel like it gives the beat a lot more impact, as well as when it's in tandem with the kick and the 808. So with that being said, this is what the drums sound like all together. So for the first part of the chorus, I have the melody playing 12 semitones down to add some variation. And for the next section of the chorus, the melody is at its original pitch, and I drop the drums as well as throw in a whoosh to create a transition. And then I also throw in this riser to lead into the drums. So this is what the melody and the drums sound like all together. So that is going to pretty much cover how to make a beat for Shakewell and Fat Nick. Hopefully you enjoyed today's tutorial. If you have any questions, please feel free to throw them in the comments down below, and feel free to subscribe as I post 2 new videos every single week. Other than that, that's about it. Peace.